All right, welcome back to Science 30 Unit A. This is our lesson 4 on cardiovascular diseases and disorders. So we've already covered quite a few of these cardiovascular disease and disorders as we've gone through the lessons because it makes more sense to, see a disorder of the white blood cells when we're talking about the white blood cells. But anyway, there's a few things in this lesson that we haven't mentioned in the past. So this lesson is pretty short, but it's going to cover a couple things that we haven't talked about. So by the end of this lesson, you should be able to analyze how the human circulatory system facilitates interactions between blood cells and the external environment and investigate cardiovascular health. So check out this textbook pages. There's 11 pages there in the textbook you should review. So many of the following cardiovascular diseases and disorders have already been discussed in some of the earlier lessons, and there's a couple of new ones here too I'll just point out. So we talked about coronary heart disease. This is when the blood is being restricted through the arteries trying to get to the heart, and this can cause chest pain and a heart attack. And heart attack is when the coronary artery is actually completely cut off with blood supply to the heart muscle, so tissue starts to die. There's valvular heart disease, which sounds exactly what it is, the valves. There's diseases in the valves that cause narrowing and leaking and improper closing of those valves, which would reduce your oxygen supply. There's septal heart defects. You can get an opening in the septum that allows flow between the left and right ventricles. Again, you're mixing oxygenated and deoxygenated blood then, so that's not good. Atherosclerosis is when the arteries start to harden and accumulate the fatty deposits of plaque on the inside, which we're going to take a look at why this happens. And stroke, we talked about this one already too. This is when the arteries to the brain are blocked. Aneurysm, this is when you have a bulging or weakness in the artery or vein. And angina, this is chest pain that's caused by that narrowing and reduced oxygen supply to the heart tissue. All right, so cholesterol and plaque. So there's many of the diseases that were listed right before this, diseases of the cardiovascular system, but they typically have this one thing in common, a lot of them, not every single one, but it's that they all tend to have a disruption in the flow of your blood in some way or the other. So one of the reasons this occurs, the main reason this can occur, is due to cholesterol and this plaque. So cholesterol is this waxy, it's fat-like substance, and when you have too much cholesterol, it can form this plaque in your arteries. So there you can see it is, which gets kind of semi-hard substance that blocks the arteries and narrows where the blood can flow through. So you get the high blood pressure problem, but then you can also get a complete blockage problem. So one of the causes of this cholesterol increasing can be due to diet. So there's something called LDLs and HDLs. So LDL stands for low density lipoproteins. And these transport cholesterol from the liver to the cells in your body. Okay, and they do this by sending it through the blood vessels, right? And these cells in your blood vessels take the cholesterol and it can build up and lead to that plaque, right? So that narrowing. So LDLs are often referred to as the bad cholesterol. Okay, so LDL is bad, not good. HDL, high density lipoproteins, carry the cholesterol from your cells to your body, to your liver. So from the cells in your body, including your blood vessels, to your liver. So it's taking it out of those cells to the liver where it can get excreted from your body. For this reason, HDLs is referred to as the good cholesterol. So foods don't actually contain LDL or HDL, but some of the fats found in the food can raise or lower the amount of these proteins. So if you want to, if you want to raise your LDL, which you don't want to, those are the bad ones. Remember, if you want to raise your bad cholesterol, you would eat more of these kinds of foods, right? So it's the fats that are found, typically the fats that are found in meat, so animal products, If you want to lower your LDL, and get more HDL, the good stuff, if you want to get more of the good cholesterol, these are the types of fats you want to eat. So I said animal before, but fish is one of the animals fats that has this good HDL. And then nuts, fruits, grains, that kind of thing. All right, so there's just a couple little things that we left out of some of the other lessons that we want to make sure we hit on here. So what happens if you have a heart attack or your coronary artery is blocked? Well, this is one of the surgeries that will occur. This is the coronary bypass operation. And you might need a single bypass. So you can see how here's your aorta sending all the blood to the rest of your body. Well, they are going to take a little a stent off of there, create a little vessel off of there that takes it right down into the coronary artery, bypassing where the blockage is so that heart can still get the blood. Here's a double bypass, one going to one coronary artery and taking it right out of the aorta and taking it to one of the other coronary arteries so that oxygenated blood can get to the heart. And then there's a triple bypass. You've probably heard these terms in the news or with family members, and now you have kind of an idea of what's going on. So you're basically creating a new artery or vein taken from somewhere else in the body, and it's used to create this new pathway around the blockage. All right, septal defect. This was one of the ones in the chart that we haven't really talked about. Some individuals can be born with this defect in their heart, and it's basically, you hear the term hole in the heart, and it's because there's a hole in the septum like that. So normally you'd have a solid septum separating the deoxygenated blood from the oxygenated. Well, here you've got a hole, so some of that deoxygenated blood can go into the oxygenated and vice versa. So when you're pumping all that blood off and through the aorta to the rest of the body, you could be pumping some of this deoxygenated blood. So you're not getting as much oxygen as you're going to be needing. Normally, if this happens at birth, it eventually closes up, but in some cases, surgery is going to have to be required. But it'll have to be done quite young. And these are the references used to make this lesson. Short and sweet little lesson here, but make sure you read those pages in the textbook. And do your practice questions and your self-checks.